Congressman McClintock also has an op-ed in today's Wall Street Journal titled "Bad Policy Served as Kindling for California Wildfires." Congressman McClintock is also a member of the House Judiciary Committee and Natural Resources Committee. Pleasure to have you today here on Newsline, sir. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me.
You know, Gavin Newsom is termed out for governor, but we know he had presidential aspirations, most likely. These wildfires devastating for so many families there. And will he be able to skirt his responsibility, the cuts to the budget, all the environmental regulations, which basically you clearly point out in your op-ed today, makes forest management almost preventative, unable to do with everything they've regulated there in that state, leading to this disaster?
Well, it's not just Gavin Newsom. I mean, he's been one of the cheerleaders for the environmental left for many years, but it's 50 years of environmental leftist policies that have permeated into our land management conduct, our all of the policies involving infrastructure. This is the ultimate collapse of the woke left's agenda, and you're seeing it now come home to roost, not just because of bad forest management and brushlands management, but also the complete disinterest in fundamental infrastructure such as water and power. Not to mention the price controls that are destroying have destroyed the insurance market in California.
Yeah, a lot of people who've lost everything have no insurance because, as you mentioned, there are those, premiums that they have not allowed to be raised. So you have insurers dropping people. We just saw Karen Bass.
I was going to say, premiums are an important price signal to people. They assign a dollar value to the risk that you're assuming. People need to have accurate price signals to make rational decisions. The price controls that California has imposed for years destroys that linkage. And when, is in the case of any kind of price controls, when government limits what you can charge, you end up with a shortage of whatever it is they're trying to control, in this case, fire insurance.
Exactly. And it's pretty simple as that. And so they've dropped people, and now people are looking for help. Karen Bass and officials just said that they're there to support others. But she did dodge a question again just minutes ago when a reporter asked, should she apologize? And, they're trying to skirt this issue, saying now she's just focused on helping her constituents. But more than an apology, some people say she needs to resign. In fact, there's a petition right now. Is there any thought you have on whether or not Karen Bass should step down for the good of people in California and Los Angeles because she cannot get the job done?
Well, yes, but the pattern in California is she'll be replaced by another leftist extremist. That's not going to solve anything. Ultimately, this is a problem that was set in motion many years ago by California voters, and particularly those in the Los Angeles area, that have selected this path for California. And those policies are now coming home to roost. So it's not just one or two politicians, it's the whole damn lot of them. Until there is a fundamental attitude change among California voters, these policies are going to continue. The faces will change, but the policies will continue. We have to change the policies, and that's going to require replacement of far more than just one leftist mayor or one foolish governor.
Well, perhaps this devastating tragedy has actually opened the eyes to tens of thousands of Californians, and this may be a turning point politically. And if it was, what would you like to see done immediately? I know that sheep and cattle grazing, you talk about this in your op-ed, they were once common. There's also all the water in Northern California that can be, held and diverted to the south. What types of policies can be enacted right now to prevent this from ever happening? Obviously, leadership's one thing they have to contend with.
You don't need new policies. You don't need new policies, and you need to restore the policies that worked during most of the 20th century until the radical left took over public policy issues on these issues, all promising to improve the environment. Well, I think we're now entitled, after 50 years of these laws, to ask, how's the environment doing? And the answer you're looking at right now, not so good. but restore the forest management practices and the brush management practices that minimize these fires. I mean, these fires have been going on since time immemorial. I point out that Juan Cabrillo dropped anchor at San Pedro Bay in 1542 and promptly called it the Bay of Smoke. So that's nothing new. How we deal with it in the 20th century is what reduced the average destruction of our California wildlands from about 4.5 million acres a year to 250,000 acres a year. That was sound forest management, sound brush management, and the infrastructure to extinguish fires when they were first spotted. All
there
that
was a little
by the
talk right
environmental
now. And also, there's just been some really disturbing reaction from you on the disturbing reports of all the looting. And one man was wearing a firefighter's jacket when he was arrested. There's a person who's homeless holding a blowtorch. Obviously, a part and parcel of this, too, is people are concerned because there's no law and order as well in California. And the DA is trying to get out ahead of it. But still, that criminal intent is there because for so many years, things like shoplifting was allowed and flash mobs.
Well, the criminal element, first of all, has been allowed to run rampant for years because of policy supported by people like George Gascon, who was just removed as DA there. But you now have a huge criminal population that we're going to need to deal with, who've been allowed to run amok for years by, again, these leftist policies. I mean, look, wherever the left takes control, you see the same social and political and economic pathologies. You see sky-high taxes, you see rampant crime, you see crumbling infrastructure. Ultimately, you see failing businesses and fleeing families. And that's
now
what we see not only in California, but wherever the left takes control.
And now the sad destruction of it for those people. Congressman Tom McClintock, a pleasure to have you today, sir. Thank you for your time.